Dumelang, ke a le dumedisa. My name is Thabang Morobane, and this is Conversations with Thabang, where I'll be inviting different people from different walks of life to come and share their stories. We want to move people from chaos to control, because sometimes life can be so unpredictable. But some people, they don't know how to cope with situations. Some batlaya dititifatsing, some will commit suicide. So we are here to talk to different people who are saying, I'm still standing after all this, after all what I went through, I'm still standing and I'm moving on. Through their stories, I know we can learn one or two things. Conversations with Thabang is not just a podcast, it's the journey that we intend to change lives of South Africans. Today I'm with one of the special women I have so much respect to. She's got double surname. Jane Mpholo Mehlape. Also, she's one of the amazing women industry in art. She has been through a lot. She has done a lot. At some point, she was sitting co National Arts Council, where they give us money. And today, maybe she will also tell us that when we want millions for our productions, what is it that we need to do? Jane, take us through your childhood. When did this start? You would want to see yourself on stage and all of that.
Sure. I'm going to try to keep this short because it's a very long story.
Yes.
When I was younger, I didn't have the passion for the arts, not in a way that that articulated into who I am today. But I used to be part of, those groups, it's about Sarafina,
Yes.
where we would do body cha-cha, the Sarafina. I was the Sarafina of the group and everything. And that's as far as art went. And then when I was in high school, I was part of just one production. It was the most embarrassing experience of my life. And I said, I will never do this to myself again. And throughout my life, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. But then tragedy hit when I was in matric, losing both my parents. And for the first time, I didn't know what I wanted with my life. From then onwards, I went to study radiography, which I absolutely hated. But it was during that period, the transitioning period of being an orphan, of being I don't know myself anymore or what I want, that I fell into major depression. And that's how my love for the art started. Because during that time, I would make up stories to escape my reality. And then I was like, wait, maybe I'm an actor, because I would tell lies all the time and people would believe me. I would make them cry. I would cry on cue. And that's how I found out that I might have a talent for acting. And then I went on to enroll for the degree more University of the Free State. So it's fate. It's not, I'm not one of those, I don't have one of those stories that since I was 4 years old, I wanted to do this. Yes. I wasn't aligned with it until later in life.
Yes. Yeah. You spoke something very important, because most of us, when we go through hard times, we tend to lose ourselves. We tend to do things like people will go and use alcohol, people will go to drugs. I just want us to go back there where you lost your parents. What was like, and how did you handle that pain?
Yeah, it was tough because number one, I was in matric and I lost my parents to HIV-related diseases in 2006, still the time where HIV was such a huge stigma. The shame, they're having to deal with the shame, the gossips, from close friends and everything. So that was a tough time. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, I managed to get out of that. I had my chances of being rebellious, of, finding comfort in alcohol, finding comfort in things that were not healthy for myself. But I have to say that having my sister and her husband there as my secondary parents played a major role, because every time I was destroying myself, they were there to remind me of who I am and to, attempt to save me. So I did have those moments of really totally losing myself because of this trauma, but the support system played a huge role.
Yeah, take us through your university time.
Yeah.
I think that's where most of the thing then started to or no, this is what I
Yeah.
can do. What happened and what are those moments that you can say, you know, at this particular moment, like a pop?
Yeah. Listen, the minute I went to the drama department, ke popile klare,
Ai wena.
because I I fell in love with myself even more. I became a different person. I realized ukuthi the trauma that I went through was for nothing, you know. I actually took it as God redirecting me to where I'm supposed to be, because had I not lost my parents, which I mean, I don't want to lose them, but I would have maybe probably been a doctor and been miserable. We don't know. But I believe that everything in life happens for a reason. And for me, the trauma redirected me to who I am today. And I actually enrolled for drama and theater arts, but because of financial reasons, I had to take a gap year. And then it was through that time that my sister actually helped me apply for a bursary. And so after that, the Department of Education paid off everything for me. So that was the biggest gift from my sister. And just being around like-minded people. A lot of us artists have gone through so much, and being in a space where it's safe for you to cry, it's safe for you to yell, to do whatever you want, to turn your emotions in an artistic form without the fear of judgment. That really, yeah, Ian man from then onwards.
Yeah, we're still with Jane Mpholo Mehlape, and she's our guest. Remember, you are with Conversation with Tabang, Free State Online, or at all YouTube. Udulo shebella, udulo like, or subscribe. We tend to and change your life. Jane, ha re ka the art industry in the Free State. We'll come back to this moment. What do you think we as the Free State are going through, and what is it that we need to do to ensure that like your Gauteng, your Western Cape, those things that you think are holding us back?
I think a lot of artists are not aware of how important it is to have some sort of training. I mean, the artistic world is one of those, unfortunately, where I have a qualification, but I will stand on the queue with somebody who just decided today that they wanted to be an artist, and chances are they would get the role and I won't. But the most important thing is having those technical things instilled in you, those things that you, like, for example, you don't just show up at auditions. There are some steps that you need to take to prepare yourself, how to control your nerves and everything, and those are the things that you learn through training. So it's very important for the artists in the Free State to take some sort of training. I mean, some of us do not afford to go to university, but there are master classes, there are workshops, there are incubator programs. Just really always go out there and upskill. You can never know enough. We also have the problem of people getting like 2 seconds on TV and now thinking they can run the whole industry. You will never know enough. You must always be humble. You must always, seek help and assistance from people who are better at you than you at, certain things, because the other thing that happens a lot not just in the Free State, is that instead of wanting to collaborate, we so easily want to compete.
Yes.
But how 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒, like going back to the thing of maybe being on the panel for adjudication and everything, when you look at other provinces, this person, when they apply for funding, they have these people in mind, and the same people are applying, and like it's a whole thing of like it's a circuit of let's collaborate. If I win, you win, you win, you win, you win. But in the Free State, we just want to do things in silos. So that's where the biggest problem is. But I think really upskilling is what we need. We need as administrators. We need producers. We need people who can write proposals, because I've seen so many people who are talented, who have brilliant plays and everything, but on paper it just looks like a joke. So I think let's diversify, let's learn as much as we can. Let's not think we are better or less deserving than others because of our backgrounds. You can come from a community arts center, I can come from university, and we can all reach like greater heights if we want, if we collaborate.
o batla shapa ntho ha o le mong, ha o batla ho collaborate, when you have an opportunity for funding, you just want to close doors for others. So Jane, you are once an artistic director or audience development director ko 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍. What was your experience there, and what are those things maybe that makes other show ska dia rekisa and all of yes?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that's problematic in terms of getting the right audience for your show is that most of the writers do not think about these things. Most of the producers, they write scripts for the sake of, I want to go to 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍, but they don't have the business side figured out. A lot of people would say, for example, I would ask a question like, what's the age group you are looking for so that I can target those audiences? And somebody would say all. All can be baby to, 99 years old. And then you go and watch the show and there's like, explicit scenes. And you just like, you can't allow a grade 7 learner or whatever to come watch the show. So we need to start thinking of our art as a business. When you're writing the script, who are you selling it to? Who are your target audiences? When you're targeting children, remember you're also targeting the parents. So start thinking of things like that. So yeah, that's number one. And number two, marketing is always done so late that it doesn't give people enough time to get the best out of the audiences. And that's something that, both the artist and the institution can always talk about to try to do early. I mean, it's in Bloemfontein. A lot of people do not even know what theater is.
Yes.
We don't have enough initiatives that are introducing people, especially from marginalized communities, to theater. When you talk about theater, people don't know what it is. People go to the mall every day. They don't even know that's where art happens. They are not aware of those things. So we need activations. We need to stop relying just on digital media, word of mouth. Go to the people, explain to them what this is, what they can expect, excite them. So yeah, we need to really look into the strategies and activations, and just you as an artist selling this thing as a product, because I mean, when you doing, for example, an alcoholic beverage, you already know 18 upwards. It's a beer, maybe more men than women are gonna buy it. You do take those things into consideration, and we should do the same with our artistic products.
Jane Mpholo Mehlape. So apologies Ntate Mehlape. Ntse ke bua le Jane Mpholo Mehlape. Yes. And we're talking about her journey. She's a professional act practitioner, but you would remember that conversations with Thabang want to move people from crisis to control. Jane, as we were talking, you went through a lot of trauma, and one of the incidents that happened was of your brother 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍. It's 𝐂𝐎𝐎𝐍, ne? 𝐂𝐎𝐎𝐍, ne? Yeah, who was used during this case. Yeah, best that he was kidnapped, and ultimately 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍 was banned beyond recognition. Take us through that. When you hear the news, when and as a family, what was going on in your mind? Because I mean, you've been through a lot, and when you think, didn't talk of like then comes the issue of 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍.
Sure. God's strongest soldier. You know how they always say the strongest soldiers are the ones but tolang di trauma. I'm just like, that was my first thought. And it was such a weird time because 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍 went missing for nakwetelele, man. It was like over a year. Texting him, trying to connect with him, thinking we somewhere. So but when I learned of the news, I was already kind of prepared, because somebody close to me actually said to me, maponesa fitlile a tlo batla di DNA samples from 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐈𝐒𝐍's mom. This could be the possibility. And I remember having a very surreal experience the evening before I learned of his passing, where he actually visited me in my dream and explained that he was no more and explained his last moment. So, and it was weird because I wasn't even following the case. And then reading about the case and looking at what they found, the autopsy reports and everything, it was literally everything that he told me. So I felt very special in that manner. Ukuthi, out of everybody, he chose to relay this message to me. And it was, I don't know, man, it was overwhelming, weird. People, when you mourn in a public platform, it sucks because sometimes I'm having a good day and people are just feeling sorry for me. I remember I was working at the institution 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒, and I didn't even tell people ukuthi we were related. I didn't want people to know that we were related because I knew ukuthi it's in such a public platform that I'm going to expect it to mourn a certain way, that people are going to worry me in a way that I don't want them to worry about me. And when it first hit, 𝐂𝐏𝐈𝐒𝐍 Memorial Service high, and more than anything, it was walking in, and there were so many cameras. So many cameras, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. And I went back to, because as a creative, I always imagined the many cameras focusing on me because I have a role in Hollywood or something, but it was actually something more depressing. So yeah, it was a very weird time, but we are okay as a family, I guess. We still don't have the answers. It's a very weird thing. I don't even know what to say. But yeah, I was more concerned about my brother, and he's okay now. You know, being in the public limelight, getting judged, getting the support and also the hatred and whatever, and you're just like, somebody just lost their child, and now here you are, we're now trying to change the narrative. But he's okay now. We are okay. We are very supportive of each other. And yeah, I pray for 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿, man.
Take us through a process of a pain, because Hansi, you know, people when they go through a trauma or pain like that, like we said, some are broken and habasaluk. You don't even know. You see somebody walking down the street, you don't even know.
Yeah.
But every time when I Jane and you come across such experiences this in sharp, what is it? What is the first thing that you do? Because now fella in an fella or drowsing, because I will drink and the pain will go away. But when I'm sober, that pain is coming back again. You know, so when what would you say to somebody else who experience? I mean, we've just lost soldiers go DRC recently. What did you say when you talk to somebody? Some of them would decide or I am dead alive. What did you say?
Listen, I think the most important thing is acknowledging what you're going through. Like, give it attention. I know it's not easy, but being in denial is worse. And sometimes it takes time for other people to actually want to acknowledge, but it's very important for you to acknowledge that I am not okay. And it's okay for me to not be okay. And to surround yourself with people who are not going to make you feel guilty for feeling that way. Because I remember when I lost my parents, I was at some point dating this guy, and because I was going through so much and I just wanted to be heard and everything, and he eventually said to me, who are when every day how you understand? I'm laughing now because he had a point. Actually, he was mean. The timing was really horrible, but also I also got to be at a point where I don't rely so much on others to fix me. You know, I don't always tell him about this because I have it under control as well, because as much as you can have the support and everything, at the end of the day, the work comes from you. So that's why I'm saying he kind of had a point. But really acknowledge that, surround yourself with love, with people who understand what you're going through, people who are empathetic. Cry. Sure, I don't know. Some people cannot cry. The release that comes from crying. And unfortunately, with any type of pain and the healing process, you need to feel the pain again and again, again, until you feel numb to it. So allow yourself, if you are fortunate enough to be so privileged that you can check yourself into a mental institution, do that without shame. Write your feelings, your thoughts, talk about them. Just do something, scream. Fella, do not give up. Life doesn't end just because we've lost somebody. You know, understand that what you're going through might feel like it's so dark that you will never get out of it, but it does get better with time. It does get better with time. So surround yourself with love and support. And if you don't have that, please reach out to whatever groups of people on social media as well. We have that. Just don't be alone. You don't have to be alone.
Yeah. Hey, you're talking about social media. Hey man, I want a TikTok or that.
Ke tjhentjhile.
No, but TikTok or say Jane Mpholo. What is that production called? We also want to know about it. Ne? We also want to know about it. What's Alanko? Jane Mpholo, and I even saw you when you visited the studios that people were so crazy. Also, like you all TikTok.
Hey, TikTok on so TikTok was honestly, I started TikTok just like everybody else, you know, being smart, being a motivational speaker.
Yes.
It didn't quite work out. I was hoping to get a following then. And then afterwards, I was just like, you know what? Here's a platform where I can do my artistic things all the time without the fear of I don't have a budget, or maybe people won't like this or whatever. I can just be myself. And most importantly, I wanted to reconnect with the language ya Sesotho, and also try to work on my comedy skills, because I've always found it so difficult. So I used the platform to better myself. I was like, I want to write more comedy because most of the things that I write are so dark. So let me start creating this comic character. Let me make her you know, universal, something that people can relate to. And that's how TikTok came about. It wasn't my intention. I wasn't looking for a following, but it actually started blowing up.
You wrote a book, ne?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about your book.
Yeah, an autobiography. It has 2 parts. It's it's on my life and everything that I've gone through. The traumas from being I don't know if I should say the word.
No, just speak.
Raped at the age of 13, losing my parents to HIV at the age of 17, losing my sister to a suicide incident where her husband poured petrol in the car, set it on fire. He died on the scene. She passed on the next day. And then later on, then I obviously, it's not part of the book, lost 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒𝐊. I also lost my brother. Like, it's just
So is the book out? How do we get
the book is available. Oh, actually, I'm glad that you asked, because I'm now working with 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒 of 𝐒𝐕𝐄 Publishing. Productions, sorry. So yeah, she's the one who is selling the book on my behalf. But personally, I would like to rewrite the book.
Just share with us, ne? When you do your production. In fact, I want you to start telling us about the production that you are busy with, but also take us through a process in summary when you conceptualize something. Porque a tseba ke tla o fa 60 seconds or bolela hore how dula or I want to write a story about Soul Provider. I want to write a story about Tabang. That moment of writing, is there a special space where you go and start writing more? This is a space that makes my creative choices to, you know. So I want you to take us through that. To the production I sell on stage.
Okay, so don't judge me, but my ideas happen while I'm busy showering or taking a bath. Something about water. I am very connected.
I think I saw one of your pics.
Everything, water.
Okay.
There has to be water, whether it's the sound of water or something. So yeah, there has to be water. And from then onwards, it would start, for example, as just this sentence that wouldn't leave my head. And when I write, I'm not even aware that it's going to turn into a script or a poem or whatever. I just allow the juices to flow. And then after that, then I realize, oh, wow, this could actually be a beautiful poem for me to submit to the space, or maybe an artistic, theatrical thing, or maybe a piece of film. And then I take it from there. But I just allow myself to just, you know how you release when you cry? Me, it's my writing, and I allow the journey to take me somewhere. But of course, it's different with everything. Sometimes you get commissioned for a script and you have specific things that you have to speak on. So the process is different all the time. But I do just allow the creative juices to flow. And sometimes I'm just inspired by the fact that I want to submit it somewhere and start making money, and that's how the ideas come.
Oh, she loves money.
I love money. Money loves me.
Conversations with Tabang. I'm with Jane Mpholo Mehlape, and we are taking a quick break, and then we'll be wrapping up our conversation with Jane. I hope that you are learning a lot from this lady, and you can see that, you know, you do not allow situations to define you. You do not allow what you're going through to paralyze you, but you can always come back, and come back very strong. Coming back shortly. Well, I wish I had time to talk to Jane. I feel like we could spend the whole day talking about what Jane went through and what is it that we can learn from Jane. But I will invite Jane again. My executive producer will invite Jane so that we talk more about her book and find out, you know, the content of the book. Jane, what would you say as we wrap up to a young person who admires you? I mean, on social media, they are following you, they like you. And I think today people knows the truth that Skarabano's Jane at Samamule. You know, there were speed humps, there were potholes, but then how do we use those things to make sure that Mobopilong will learn from our pain, and our pain triggers a purpose moving forward?
I think the most important thing that everybody must always allow themselves to never forget is that living is a choice. We can all exist. You can see bodies moving around, but living life is a choice. And that's something that you have control over. You don't always have to play victim to your circumstances. Whatever trauma you went through, something positive can come out of. You know, you can even share your experiences to make others' lives better. So I think it's very important for you to choose to want to live, and to choose to want to live in a great way, in a way that you can leave behind beautiful footprints despite your history and your traumas and the curses that you've, you know, been through. And it's okay to admire somebody, but don't let that define who you are and where you want to go. I see a lot of people looking at, for example, some people I know on social media, and people thinking, oh my goodness, their lives are so glamorous, I want that. But to be you know, ba dampa body boyfriend ba handle ho for somebody better and everything, but you don't know the behind the scenes, you know. I know a lot of people, especially in this industry, where how sheba Instagram you'd be like, yo, I want that life, but behind the scenes, we choose what we want you to see on social media. So do your research and do not compare yourself with others. Yes, be inspired, but our journeys are not the same. Somebody can just wake up today and be a Hollywood star, whereas it could take me or somebody else like 30, 40 years to get there. It's okay, it's a journey. What's more important is the fact that you are always striving towards something positive. Do not count the steps. Do not look at how far other people are. Look at where you are and how you can better yourself, how you can diversify yourself, how you can live a meaningful and purposeful life. And yes, I should be a motivational speaker.
Sure. Jane, thank you very much. What I've learned, she said, either live or exist. It's up to you. Conversations with Tabang. Till we meet next time. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you motivational speaker? Are you serious about
Ke
that?
motivational speaker vele.
Ah,
I just don't do it
ka
enough.
dilo tsa ko kerekeng. And I go to so how ka qala kereke bo so re wa re pastorize.
No, I don't do it enough though. I do it in a very special, unique way.
Yes, yes.
Because I'm an artist, I'm
Yes.
a writer, so usually how I would do it, it would feel like, a performance of some sort, but so close to home, so real, so whatever. So guess by